welcome to PM Express tonight. Tonight we are looking at one of the most hotly contested subjects ahead of the 2020 elections, a compilation of a new voters register. The key question, is it a necessity or is it a total waste of resources? Depending on who you ask, you will get a necessity or you get a waste of resources. We're going to look at that. Now, we know the Electoral Commission just yesterday came to light that they've submitted a budget to Parliament, 443 million cedis, to compile a new voters register for the 2020 elections. Now, many people have objected to this, criticizing the decision to do this at a time when they say we are in need of money to do bigger things. The Electoral Commission insists the cost is absolutely worthwhile, and so they're pressing ahead with this. The National Democratic Congress, they've been in the forefront of fighting and objecting to this, and they have they've said that they will resist this with every single ounce of energy they have. Now, what really have they been saying as an argument against this? That there's not enough grounds for there to be a compilation of a new voters register. They claim that EC's decision is a breach of the law, which requires such exercises to be done based on consensus. They cite IPAC, for example, and the influence of IPAC over the years in shaping the electoral landscape when it comes to reform. Also, they talk about the 10-year period within which a voters register should be compiled. They say that this particular register we have, it hasn't lasted for 10 years yet, and so why is the EC so bent on changing same? Now, but the EC insists the cost is worth it. We should press ahead with it. The EC says with the manual verification, there are many challenges. A lot of people, although we have the biometric devices, a lot of people are still coming forward to do manual verification. It defeats the purpose of the biometric registration because people then have an opportunity to vote twice, which was what the biometric registration was supposed to deal with. And that is why they are bringing in equipment that will add facial recognition to the system we already have to improve the security and safety of what we have already. So the arguments are on both sides. We'll hear from the MPP shortly where they stand on this. But you necessarily must ask the question, is it really a necessity or is it a total waste of resources? When we return from the break, we'll have the Electoral Commission, we have the MPP, we have the NDC discussing this subject. Stay with us. You are live on PM Express. My guest in the studio, and already the conversation has started. It's going to be an exciting one, trust me. Peter Tukuno, a good friend of mine, but he's abandoned me. Today he's found his way onto my show after dodging me for 3 years. Peter, I'm grateful that you could join me. Nice
good
one.
To see you.
Also, he's my namesake. And so don't confuse the two. There's only one original Evans, and that's me. But the duplicate Evans is here. He is Evans Nemako. Nemako, grateful that you could join me.
We used to have Professor Evans at time.
That's okay. Well, that's a super original one.
May his
soul rest in perfect peace. Yes. And he is the director of elections of the governing New Patriotic Party. Peter Tukuno is the deputy general secretary of the NDC. Both of them sit in IPAC. And so why is there disagreement over a simple matter of voters register? I say simple, knowing it's not simple at all. It's probably the most divisive subjects in Ghana's history anytime it comes up. Mr. Tukuno, so the EC is clear, unambiguous, that yesterday's district level elections is the last time we'll use this existing voters register. In furtherance of that, they've gone to Parliament asking for 500 million cedis to compile it. This is a done deal. It's gone. There's nothing else can do about it, but you're protesting.
Well, Evans, first of all, it is important to note that of our almost 24 years of democratic parties in the Fourth Republic, we have changed register only 3 times. Now, this is the 4th time we are attempting to change the register. We must ask ourselves, what has been the progression over the period in changing the register? What has been the processes that we go through in changing the register? What has been the participation and the level of consensus in changing the register? What we are seeing now is nothing like we have ever seen before. The first time and the only time we have discussed the need for a new voter register was 2nd December, just last 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes, that was the first and the only time that we have discussed. The first time we had a discussion.
Oh, such a big matter.
Yes, such a huge matter. And I'm making this point advisedly. On the 27th of March, we had an IPAC meeting to discuss the district level elections. And along the line, when we were discussing the limited registration exercise, Jim Mensah mentioned that there is a thinking that they may want to do a new voter register. Then, I mean, it was brushed off by members of IPAC. Subsequently, 2 hours after the meeting, we saw a communique press release from the Electoral Commission indicating that we have had an extensive discussion, and one of the decisions that we have taken is that we will do a new voter register. We came out very, very strongly, and I'm sure you followed that matter. Subsequently, they reviewed that portion. We went to IPAC. I sat with him at IPAC. We amended that portion. They spoke about the new voter register. It went down. 25th November, we were invited for an emergency meeting. You know, administratively, you don't hold 2 consecutive emergency meetings because emergency meetings, you are unable to look at the previous minutes. So 25th, we went for emergency meeting. And the emergency meeting was to discuss the program for 2020. So along the line, it came up that we want to do new voter register. Our representatives, you know, stood out very strongly about, I mean, how can you just bring it up that 2020 you are going to do new voter register?
When that's
not
not
had any discussion, and that is not the purpose. We are not prepared for it. Okay, so it was agreed and shelved. Subsequently, on 2nd of December, it became a main agenda. They invited us and asked us to bring representatives who are IT specialists to come and listen to a presentation on why we need to do a voter register. Evans, this is what came up from the presentation. They stated that our system has transmission problems, and it is because we are using a satellite system called VSAT. And when the weather goes blind, then the system goes blind. So there is a need for us to improve that system so that we can resolve all the connectivity issues. Now, first of all, we told them in the meeting that the system that uses the VSAT is the VMS system. They are positioned in 216 districts, not even 250 districts, 216 district offices. The reason why we brought in that system by Afarijan was that there was a court ruling in 1996 that we cannot be holding registration exercise only when we are going for election, elections. So there should be an avenue for continuous registration so that people who turn 18 can walk to the district offices and go and register. It was on the back of that we installed the VMS system. That is what we call the online system. If you recall, this year when we were speaking about limited registration exercise, we were making the case that the EC's argument that he's going to use the 250 district centers to do the registration exercise is going to be problematic because the VMS system is not designed for mass registration. You understand? And we saw the evidence. In actual fact, out of the 1.2 million that we registered, I think about 1.1% that went through the VMS system. You saw the 1-ton collapse across the country. The system was not working. So they had to rely on the BVD devices, these same obsolete kits, to register 1.2 million people. So the reason that the excuse that the transmission system is problematic, so we need to change the register, fell very flat at the last IPAC meeting with the explanation and the discussions that went on.
I mean, at least in your view.
Yes, in our view.
EC disagrees.
Because the VMS system is not used to compile the register. In fact, it doesn't run the register. After the register is done, it's on the database. Now, what runs the register is the data center. Now, the data center runs on the software developed through Oracle 11. Now, just like any other software, like the WhatsApp on your phone, when it gets outdated, then there is a new version you need to update. You don't throw your phone away and buy a new one. Is that not it? Simple analogy. Now, the Oracle 11 is outdated, so you have slow performance. The processing rate is very, very slow, and sometimes you have malfunction of the devices because of the weather and so on and so forth.
Don't change the hardware. Update the software.
So you update the software. Now Oracle has developed 5 different generations. After the 11 gen. Now they have 19C. All you need to do is to procure 19C and update your system, and you have an efficient flowing data center, and that is the data center upon which the register runs. You understand what I mean? Now, they also raised the issue of high incidence of manual verification.
Yes.
Very well, we agree. In fact, we, the NDC, have championed this particular cause. That there's too much high rates of manual verification. Let's find a way to deal with it. Okay, EC suggests that we should add facial verification. We think that is excellent. We think that we can do that. Now, this does not warrant the need for a new register.
Why?
Because
it warrants the need for procurement of a new system.
No.
Biometric system.
No. Okay. No. Because the current biometric system that we have has only the thumbprints.
Yes.
But it also has our pictures. So if you voted yesterday, when you put your thumbprint on the verification device, the first thing that comes is your picture, your face.
But that's not facial recognition, is it?
No, wait. So that they can compare your face.
True.
And see if it's you. And your face comes before it says verified. You understand? Now, what it means is that the current system, there can be a plug-in of a facial verification device to run on the image that is already on the system.
That's a technical
Yes, I'm trying
solution.
to. Yes.
I don't know whether that is technically feasible.
No, it's technically feasible. That's what we are talking about. According to our experts. And
that's NDC's experts.
No, other experts. Indeed, there was one expert from the UFP at our last IPAC meeting, and he was excellent. And he gave all these indications. And
have we had an independent expert in these meetings?
We will get there. Okay. You understand? So, if you look at that, you will see that it's technically feasible. So you do the plugins and install the facial verification device. Mind you, Dr. Boyemia showed us the way. Evans and Co. They showed us the way. This our register was run alongside the Togolese register using the same technology. And you recall, about 70,000 people they claim they found on the Togolese register and on the Ghana register. So the images on our database are enough. I heard some explanation they gave the other time, the director of IT, that they are in the form of thumbnails and that the thumbnails cannot, be compatible with the plugins if they try. Then I said, Master, you are trying to confuse everybody here. Thumbnails are viewer options. What are the formats? What is the format on the system?
It's either PNG. You have a background in IT.
I read a lot about everything.
Because you may be wrong, actually.
No, it can be.
I don't pretend to know a lot of the technical terms you're using.
You may want to.
But that's why I was asking whether the experts have pronounced verdict on this independently.
Repeatedly, except that they are not ready to listen. The format is either JPG or PNG. PNG is very comfortable to work with if you are doing facial verification. So all that we are saying is that from the discussions, from the expert opinion that was expressed at IPAC and elsewhere, there is a possibility of an upgrade. And the EC officers themselves have admitted that the upgrade is possible.
Okay, so I'll come to you. I want to bring him in.
No, but even before you go to him, the upgrade is possible. So if the upgrade is possible, why are we not going for an upgrade and we want to scrap the register? Jean Mensah came with an explanation. She says that if they want to do the upgrade, it's exceedingly expensive, more than scrapping and replacing the register. All of us were amazed, and I'm sure Evans himself was amazed. So we were very expectant to see the figures, the valuation reports, so that we can do the comparison and continue the discussion from there. She promised us to give us the data. And that is why, when we boycotted the demonstration last Monday, we were making the case. In fact, when we got there, the first thing I asked Jim Mensah was that we've written 2 letters after our last IPAC meeting, just within 1 week. And when we were leaving the meeting, the consensus was that we were going to provide some documents to political parties, valuation report of an upgrade of the current register.
Cost?
Yes, and estimation of the new voter register, so that it can inform.
You haven't provided that?
Yes, because beyond all the discussions that we are having, we have a general consensus on the need for the functions to be upgraded. You understand? We want to add facial technology. There's consensus on that. There's a need for us to improve the system. Consensus on that. But the approach. Now, do we change the register or we do not change the register?
But you are opposed to change the register, but you are for upgrading the current system.
Exactly.
Okay, let me bring in him.
Because
I'll come.
Just one statement. Just because they themselves, the EC, have made the point that the register is very credible. There's no problem with it.
Okay, Evans, is that true? That the EC themselves has admitted the register is credible. If that's the case, why then are they making a U-turn?
Thank you, my brother. And I can see how my brother here, Peter, is struggling to put his case across. I'm happy you asked him whether he's an expert. Anytime I had gone for an IPAC meeting, the NDC had come with one Mr. Griffith, who used to be the CEO of NIA. What I would say, my brother, this whole issue about new register, or we maintain, upgrade it, and all that. The NDC have had an entrenched position, and this push, I don't think, is the way to go.
But you did when you were in opposition as well.
I mean, what does the law say? Okay, it can't be possible that the first time the issue came up was on the 2nd of December. That for me is a false. It's a lie. It can't be the case. I can show to you. This is an IPAC minutes of Wednesday, 24th of April 2019. You can reach the to your viewers. Okay. So that is about
this is Tukuno, do you recognize this?
Yes, this is the IPAC meeting following the first one where they declared where they declared 27th March.
Mr. Otokuno said here that for the first time the issue came up was on 2nd of December, and I'm saying that is a lie.
Okay, which part of this contradicts that position? Did that come up in this meeting?
Yes, point 6.
Okay, point 6.
3. Following, and
it says the chairperson responded by saying that the commission owed this response to Parliament because dealt with a law, making body in that regard. She further explained that the commission had given reasons to the decision it had taken, and I'm assuming it's talking about the decision to do register.
Compare a new register.
Okay.
And he sits here and says that the first time it came up.
Believe that they had accepted the reasons. And there's a quote, "I am not sure we owe this response to the political parties," she added.
Yeah. So when you read further, Peter said here that the first time the issue of new voters register by the EC came up on the 2nd of December, and I'm saying that's a lie. I'm saying that's a lie.
That's not what I said. You can't misquote me once.
You said that was the first time.
I said that was the first time we're discussing fully. That's the first and the only time that we have discussed. Registered.
But this shows that
it was not discussed.
But allow him because it's on the floor. I mean, just so you can make this point.
It's just fair.
I sat here and allow you to have your way. And so it's been discussed over and over again. And the other, I think that the minutes of the IPAC are public document. You can cross-check from the EC. He can. And you get things for yourself. We were told at IPAC that the report of the previous vendor, STL, was that the ICT infrastructure of the EC has reached the end of life, and it is important that it's replaced. Because looking at the cost of refurbishing, it's more expensive than to procure the new one. The EC said they consulted the 2011 experts who had been used by Mr. Afarijan, and he also recommended that it is important that they install new hardware and software. So we've been told this. Going forward, the EC, after subsequent discussions at IPAC, invited political parties to hear from their ICT directorates on why the need for the new infrastructure. We were told at that meeting, that was the 2nd. We had the 25th November meeting, and they called us on another emergency on the 2nd. The position of the NDC is that you cannot have subsequent emergency meetings, so they made those arguments. But at that meeting, the EC's IT directorate informed us that their infrastructure has reached the end of life. It has become obsolete. Even though they said it is credible, they said they want to have a system that is more credible underlined, where they have control. And that the system as it exists now, they do not have the password to it, they don't have access. Every maintenance about it is done by vendors that they don't have control.
Now, is that true?
So for us as political parties, we've been given this information. It is for us to verify. It is for other stakeholders to find out from other stakeholders that, yes, STL, you have been the provider of these services. What was your report? EC said the report from our predecessor indicated that it was important we change over, because the system as it exists now do not allow for foolproof. And we've gotten to the point where anytime we are doing registration, we are doing election, it allows for manual verification, which has been challenged by political parties.
No, he concedes that.
NDC themselves. Kodio has said same. So in order to have a system that is robust enough that nobody in an external environment will have access, let's have a new infrastructure that will provide for us.
Why can't you upgrade the existing infrastructure?
The EC said they are open to further discussions with stakeholders to see if it is possible. I mean,
no, but that's not true, is it? Because the EC has made up its mind. They've gone to Parliament with a budget.
But we had a session. The NDC decided to boycott. He mentioned that a certain UFP gentleman, he was afraid to mention his name. I can mention his name. He sat in from other political party. His presidential guy left with the NDC to hold a press conference. In the course of the discussion, the EC told stakeholders, vendors presenting, political parties present, that they are ready to upgrade and that they are looking at possibility of running the data as it exists now on the new hard and software, if it is possible. For us as New Patriotic Party, a system that will improve where we are. You can't go into an election where people raise issue of credibility. As he sits here, he's raising the issue of credibility. And I'm saying that it is less expensive to go into 2020 with a system that we all appreciate that, yes, this is in line with the law. It is not the decision of the NDC, neither it is the decision of the MPP. So the EC can employ it and make sure that the election we run in 2020 is acceptable.
No, but here's the point, though. In yesterday's elections, the EC tell us they refurbished the existing biometric devices. And they say this is the most successful district level elections ever on the back of a refurbished equipment. If the EC's word is true, that the refurbished system have delivered the most successful district level elections, if it's good for district level elections, it certainly is good for the national elections. Why can't we simply use the refurbished?
I'm happy you've mentioned it. Then Peter also mentioned the issue of the reliance on the VSAT from the district level to the data center. The EC informed us that because the infrastructure has reached the end of life, it is always difficult for the district level communication and transfer of data. So in one exhibition, there were a number of people that were not exhibited. In fact, the NDC were going to go to court. Honorable Amabua of Elembele said that a lot of people who registered in his constituency and other constituencies did not find their names on the register. And the EC's explanation is that because their machinery have reached the end of life, it is important they
But you're not answering my question.
I'm answering your
question.
They
refurbished it. They said, and it worked perfectly yesterday.
Hold on. We were told at IPAC and that document to show, we were told that refurbishing these ones more expensive than procuring.
But they did it for yesterday's district level elections.
And you saw it. I don't know whether you cast your vote. I did. Okay, I don't know where you, and I don't think Peter was around all these polling stations.
Did you see problems with the refurbished system?
There were not too much of traffic, and I can assure you that the phone you used in 2010 is not the same phone you use now. If you say an IT infrastructure has reached the end of life, there's nothing you can do about it. It's less expensive to change over than to say that, oh, I'll manage it and see how it will go. He sat here and said that going into the 2020 elections, there's no way they will accept an arrangement of elections that is not transparent. It is, for me and for us as the New Patriotic Party, it is less expensive to have a system that will give us an election that is transparent. An arrangement that will allow stakeholders, and we don't sit in IPAC alone as political parties. There are other stakeholders. There are other international bodies, development partners that sit with us at IPAC. In fact, there was one occasion that their General Secretary mentioned that he was not properly invited to the meeting. He read from his own phone a copy of the invitation. And that was for me, very, very sad.
I'll come back to you, Peter, but I've just been joined on the telephone line right now by the Electoral Commission's Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Srebo Kwaku. Dr. Srebo, thank you for your time here on PM Express again.
Thank you, my brother. I hope you are doing well.
I'm doing fantastic, sir. So the question about the biometric devices, which now you have made progress in procuring a new one, if Parliament approves your budget. I asked the question in the studio a short while ago. If you refurbished it yesterday, and from what you yourself have said, delivered a near perfect, district level elections, If it works that well, why can't you simply refurbish the rest and upgrade it for the 20? Yes, yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
If your car goes to a mechanic and it's able to take you to Kumasi, does it mean that there's no need for you to buy an efficient car, which will not take you to mechanic again? So what we are saying is that the machines we are using now are obsolete. The suppliers are no more producing them. Even getting parts, you have to go to the open market because the suppliers are not producing. Using the, if we talk of the BVR, which is used for the registration, getting cartridges, you have to go to the open market because the suppliers are not supplying them. There are instances you get a cartridge well labeled as the one you are looking for, you put it in the machine and it will not work. All officers who took part in the recent limited registration will testify to that. Now, when it comes to the BVT, we are having a lot of manual verification. If we were on my WhatsApp, I would have sent a message I received from the first one of them to you. A lot of them had to vote by the manual verification. Tension in this level election is different from tension in general election. We should be careful we don't put the hands of who qualifies to vote in the hands of the presiding officer, the polling assistant. Because the issue of using manual verification means that the machine doesn't verify the person by the fingerprint. Then it is thrown to the agent. Do you know this person? Do you agree that he's the one who is claiming to be? Then you fill form for them to sign. I can assure you, knowing the policies that we have in Ghana, Evans, everybody will know that you are Evans. But because maybe they know you are from Party A or Party B, Party A will say you are Evans, Party B will say you are not. In such a case, what happens? It's possible that the same situation, somebody who is not Evans can come and the people will say that it's Evans. And when Evans go to the polling station, Evans will have voted when Evans has not been there. Because we are now allowing a lot of manual verification. When the machine was acquired in 2012, it was no verification, no vote, no room for manual verification. But because of the failure of the system to verify people, that's why we introduced the manual verification. And looking at Ghana, where we are moving with our politics, it is better we introduce a system where the system itself will verify the person. So we are saying that with a new solution, we are introducing the facial recognition. So that if your fingerprints fail you, then we resort to the facial recognition. The system itself will take a picture of you, compare with the picture in the system, and will say that you are the one or you are not. So a lot of things are happening, and we should not be thinking of what happened yesterday.
But Doctor,
yesterday, that is what with the general election, the parties will have agreed.
Well, Dr. Cerebral, so that is the story, the EC story with the machines. But what is wrong with the existing voters register?
The existing voters register. If you have been moving with the registers, you read that the rate we are adding is not the same as the rate we are deleting. There are a lot of people who have passed on. They need the registration will have to come with evidence for them to be expunged from the register. We keep on adding, but we hardly remove names of dead people. So automatically, I am convinced that we have a lot of names that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, but is that enough reason to expend $500 million?
Qualities of election. So qualities of register means that the register should be accurate and current. That's good qualities of a good register. And you see, we shouldn't also make mistake with the amount we are referring to. Whether, even if you don't buy the new solution, we will still spend this amount of money, almost, if not all, because we think that we have to do the upgrade. And this amount is not a solution. It includes everything about the registration, the people you are going to recruit, their allowances, their training, everything is part of it. So the amount we are quoting is not the purchase of the equipment, but the whole registration process.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Sribo, please hold the line for me briefly. That is the argument for it.
I think that Mr. Sribo, is it Dr. Sribo?
Dr. Sribo.
Needs a little update on this discussion. First of all, what is the reason behind the high incidence of manual verification? The reason is very simple. Because sometimes the system does not work.
Yeah, but that's why they have to change it.
No. The reason why this incidence was not high in 2012 and in 2016 was that the system were refurbished. The kits were refurbished. In 2018, the budget of the EC to Parliament, they requested for some 25 million to refurbish the equipment. When they were reporting this year, they didn't do the refurbishment. Now, the system are such that when they operate under the sun, under high temperature, they are unable to function. If they are unable to function, then you have to resort to manual verification. Now, you are saying that because of that, we should throw the entire register away and do another register, of which we are going to use same equipment. Maybe
they'll change the equipment.
No, maybe the ones that you buy, they can work under 40 degrees, under 45 degrees. But it will get to a point in time under certain circumstances that it will not work.
Then you change it again.
So you have to resort to manual verification, or you change the entire register again.
No, but he's saying that but that system you're going to procure will eliminate.
You see, the argument I'm making here is that these systems, if they are refurbished and we observe the conditions under which they work, we will not get high rates or high incidence of manual verification. And we have seen that in 2012. We have seen that in 2016. So nobody should confuse the issues. There is a fundamental core reason why we are facing this challenge.
What is it?
Let's uproot the challenge.
What is it?
Let's solve the problem. It is because we didn't refurbish the equipment. That's why we had that high incidence in the 27th December elections last year. You understand? And that is where we started the arguments. And so if you read the IPAC minutes very well, we were making very strong arguments. In fact, what he showed you, the reason why Jim Mensah was responding to this, and he said that he doesn't owe us any explanation, he owes Parliament explanation. We asked questions about the refurbishment of the equipment and the budget they sent to Parliament for the refurbishment and whether it was done and why they are not going to use the equipment and they want to use the VMS equipment. So, and if you want, I may read the 6.0 district level election. This is not new register. This is district level election. It was 6.3 that he pointed out to you. And 6.3 is a response to question by our General Secretary in 6.2. And this is the question. Mr. Asedun Ketia of the NDC restated their party stands against the online registration at the district offices. He also wanted to find out whether the commission went to Parliament to seek appropriation for refurbishment of the biometric kits and whether the appropriation were approved both in 2018 and 2019. So the solution is there. Refurbished. And that is why yesterday you did not see that incident. Okay. Now they make
I can bring him. Let him respond to that.
No, I wanted to mention one thing, one analogy that he made.
I wanted to respond to it. So just for it to flow. I want to. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Don't worry. I'll come back. Yeah, Evans.
Thank you. But we heard Dr. Sribo right. He said that yes, you may have to refurbish. If machinery has reached end of life and it is more expensive.
Let's stop this end of life thing.
But he didn't mention end of life.
Let's stop this end of life thing.
If your car develops faults and you manage to fix it and you take it to Kumasi, it doesn't mean that you procure a new one that will give you efficiency. It's bad. He mentioned that.
But it depends. It's choices.
I was quiet. The issue of the EC compiling new register has been discussed. The issue of putting up new installation that will be robust enough to have total control has been discussed. The fact that the NDC wants to have an entrenched position on whether the EC should go right with the new registration, with new hard and software, whether they disagree, it's not the issue. Is it legal? I mean, why? You want to have a security post in your village and somebody says, I don't want it. Because you say you don't want it, it must not be done. Why? Then you are a thief. What is the problem for not having it? You want the EC to refurbish. And they say the cost of refurbishing the infrastructure is more expensive. And the IC...
Where is the evidence?
Have they given the evidence?
I remember very well in one of the meetings, the EC said it will cost us 20 million more cities for us to get this done.
Yeah,
He's
I've heard
no.
Jim Mensa make that point.
So he's saying no, and I'm saying that you cannot be sitting here speaking to the larger stakeholders and not be telling the truth. We've been confronted with this. I'm saying that for us, the previous vendor has been STL. What was the report of the STL? The expert report, what has been it? Why is it that the EC's IT directorate will do a presentation to us on the need to refurbish? I'm saying that his phone that he used to use in 2010 is not the same phone he's using. Technology has changed. And I'm saying that for us, it is better to procure an efficient system that will give us an election that is credible. He mentioned right that district level election tension is not the same as a general election. And I could assess the traffic. I went to my village Bunsu in the eastern region of Baka South to vote. There was no queue. But if it had been a general elections, the queue would have been different. And the EC said, we've experienced loss of data. We've experienced situations where people get to polling stations and their names are not there. And it's the same reason why one Honorable Kofi Amabwa said he was going to go to court. And so if the EC said that under the circumstance, it is appropriate that we spend these resources and make sure we have a system that can give us efficient, robust arrangement to conduct an election that is fair, transparent. The NDC said they disagree.
Peter, let me ask you. You stated earlier that you admit that the manual verification that is going on is a problem for the NDC as well. If that is the case, isn't that why you have to change it?
No, it cannot be enough reason why you have to change. In fact, it has nothing to do with the register. It has rather to do with the software. I have mentioned that it is running on Oracle 11G. Now it is Oracle 19C. So all you need to do to get it run efficiently is to upgrade the software.
On the register, though, he says that too many dead people on, they haven't been able to clean it. As in the exhibitions aren't doing it, you have to have a clean slate.
I got very surprised that he was making this analogy, because with his level of experience,
he's been there for 30 years.
Yes,
he knows
with
what
his level of experience, he knows that even if you do the register today, you will still have a lot of people who will die today. When you close the register today, people are dying.
But this register
people are dying every day. And you know that because of our identification system and our record system, we are unable to link the systems and be able to delete those who are dead. When you go elsewhere, in Nigeria, when you go to US, when you go to South Africa, they have accredited voters. And the accredited voters are those who are able to follow up and go for the exhibition and identify their names, and they accredit them. If you do not go for some time, you are presumed dead, because they cannot even match the systems almost every day. They don't do register every 4 years, every 10 years. The register has been there. Some of them have been. Oh no, please. You
are not presumed dead in the case of Nigeria.
No, please.
You are not presumed dead.
No, please. I allowed you to speak.
You will not. No.
Will you grant me the respect
if we can make a point?
Will you grant me the respect? No, will you grant me the respect?
He kept quiet when you were speaking, so it's just fair.
But you are not, Evans,
because you are a fellow Vanda, not because I fear you, but because he's a fellow Vanda, I give him respect. We should now
make the note for me. I'll come to you on that.
The fact of the issue is that when you do the register today, people will die. You don't use the level of death as a basis to throw away your register. After all, dead people do not vote. And for God's sake, you are running a biometric system. If the person is dead, he's dead with the thumbprints. Unless you are saying that Evans can go and dig graves and bring people thumbprint to come and vote. Then that it would be most ridiculous.
But there's manual verification which they are allowing now, so that then becomes a problem.
He's talking about death. Yeah. So that tells you that all those who die on the register will not be available to vote. Now, this is our argument. Facial recognition, we love it. But we think that the facial recognition can be added to the current system.
Without changing
it. And we think that it cannot be true that upgrading the system will be more expensive than 443.6 million.
What's your basis? What is your basis for this?
The basis is very, very simple. The software upgrade, obviously, cannot go high. And you see, Evans, it's not technical. Evans, it's not technical. And we know these things. That is why at IPAC.
So maybe I should ask you,
Evans,
your experts, what are the experts? Experts quantify them.
Let me make this point. That is why we know that we do not know the figures. That is why when Jim Mensa said at the meeting that they have a valuation report for the upgrade,
they should show you,
and it's more expensive, we all agreed. They didn't say anything, they didn't comment. But all other political parties agreed that we needed those documents. In fact, he spoke about some STL evaluation reports or some technical assessment.
That you've
report.
seen?
No, we have requested for it repeatedly.
But you've seen this?
At a point at the last meeting, Jimenza said she will not give us the report. She can give us a brief. Okay, we said, okay, add the brief. Bring the evaluation report for the upgrade. Bring us the estimation, the cost estimates for the new register. Let get informed. Be transparent. Open up. Let us see what you are doing.
Let me go back to
But
this,
even before
Dr.
then, even aside from that, what they invited us to do last week, which we boycotted, was that they have shortlisted 4 companies. They have developed a system. With my basic class 1 knowledge in IT, you do not develop a system like that within 1 month. You will need to know the specifications and design to suit specifications.
So what were you
so that you will be able to demonstrate. So what it means is that these people perhaps might have done some work and engagement in a very long while, and they are ready with their system, without the knowledge of political parties that procurement has started.
Let me ask.
We don't know whether it was sole sourcing, it was selective tendering, or competitive tendering. We don't know how the companies were selected.
Let me ask that of Dr. Sirbo. Dr. Sirbo, the final question before you take leave of us. Why are you not building consensus around this issue, as the NDC has just mentioned?
Certain things. No, I mentioned accuracy and currency. The register should be current and the register should be accurate. These are some of the basic requirements or characteristics of a good register. That is why I introduced the debt issue. Don't forget that immediately we finish this exercise, everybody is asking us of voter turnout. What will be the need for people who are there to be in the register? And when you are going to compute your turnout, it is to always be low because those dead people don't vote. And also, I want to take you back to history. In 1987-88, a voter register was compiled and was used for 1992. In 1995, a voter register was compiled and was used for 1996 and 2000. 1996 was the time that we introduced a thumbprint ID card and photo ID card. Then in 2000, the thumbprint one were also converted into photo. So that was used in 2000. In 2004, the register was compiled, and that was that we introduced photo of voters onto the register. And that was used for 2004 and 2008. Then in 2012, the biometric was compiled and it was used for 2012 and 2016. The reason why we have been changing our registers for every 2 general elections is because of that reason I was talking about. No, and that the voters should be, registers should be current. So it's not the issue of that, not that matter. Once they are in, it affects the computation of your voter turnout. So that's what I wanted to say.
I'm grateful that you joined us.
Let me quickly do this. Let me quickly do this.
Just to be fair,
the change of the voter
I went to him after you. I just had to speak. Then I'll come to you again.
I'll just do some 1 minute. And earlier on you gave him more time. I didn't complain.
Don't bring. You will make a note. You know, I implored him to make a note.
Before Dr. Sebo goes.
He's gone already. I mean, he's gone already. So but. Make the point. You had a point to make. That is just explanation. You buy it?
I mean, Peter,
once you buy anything from the EC, they buy anything from the EC.
This kind of propaganda will not, survive in the face of facts and truth.
What are the facts?
The facts are that why do we run a system on infrastructure that is obsolete, that cannot give us the best?
Where obsolete means
that now machines as they exist, if you put your thumb, you are not able to recognize your biometric features.
When you put your thumb, you were not able to vote
and on that note, please,
kind of ridiculous comment is this?
He says that upgrade.
Yes, and what form should it take? The upgrade. The EC told us at IPAC meeting that upgrading, yes, it cost us so much.
Okay, you're going to return to that, but which is a contested. Have you seen the evidence?
So we are demanding for the documents. Why is the EC hiding the documents?
Have you seen the evidence?
Why is the EC
not making noise? It's trying to establish a system that will provide us the credibility, that will give us a transparent, organized elections, that will give us the results we want. the EC told us, yes, refurbish the system. It cost us this much, 20 million more than to procure a new one. I'm saying that the kind of...
But you haven't seen the evidence. So you don't want to see it.
Hold on. So we were invited by the EC on the 2nd of December to be introduced to the system as it exists now.
Yeah, but we have challenges. But without seeing the evidence that
you need to go to the EC's data center that is not able to communicate with the district center.
It's not true.
And that data gets lost.
Big lie.
Why was Kofi Amaboa going to court?
Big lie. Because you sacked STL and you are not having the competent hands to manage the data center. Simple.
Hold on.
You sacked them without any reason.
We need to interrogate further.
And untrained people are managing the system.
This kind of posture will not help.
Are you done though?
I'm not done. I'm saying that
briefly.
we've sat in IPAC meeting, decision we took, presentations by Sidun Kete himself. NDC will get out of IPAC and will be chaining out different issues to the public. This kind of attitude is not the... I'm saying that for us as the New Patriotic Party, the EC has on several times informed us that their system has reached end of life. It is important that they procure new one to allow for a situation where the elections
you've made that
will
point.
not give us trouble.
Briefly.
We will not,
end of
the
life
NDC
is
will not
a
have
ridiculous lame excuse
Peter
by
and his
the
people
EC and
will not have the way of saying that because we say this, that must be the order of the day. It cannot work like that.
Briefly. I need to go for it. Let's go.
Now,
make a point.
I think that the end of life thing is a lame excuse that the MPP and the EC, who appear to be in collusion, is throwing into the...
There has never been any day that your party has presented you as an expert. Your party has never presented you as an expert.
To be throwing this into the eyes of the people. End of life basically means that there is time for upgrade. I have mentioned and explained that Oracle 11G was done in 2011. So the issue about end of life is neither here nor there. Now, listen carefully. The change of voter register. All the times that we have changed voter register, it was not because we have used them for 2 elections. It was because we have demanded a change in the electoral process. And if you listen to him carefully, and if you would be very frank to his own facts that he was putting across, every time that we had changed the register, we had progressed one step ahead with the kind of register that
but you're going to progress one step. No, but this one, you're going to progress from only thumbprint and picture to facial recognition.
We do not have any problem with that.
Yeah. So meet your own standard.
So upgrade. I'll take the one step. But this system is compatible with the one step that we have.
I'm going to take a break. When I return, why is the NDC fighting the new voters register when that voters register delivered to them the biggest defeat in their history? They should be accepting a new voters register. Why are they not accepting it when you look at the politics of it, really, in numbers? We'll return from this break. We'll look at that. So live on PM Express, as we wrap up, Peter Otogo, let's look at the politics of this disagreement. You, in 2016, lost elections with historical margins. This voters register that you say you should maintain delivered that blow to you. Isn't it really in your political interest to have a new one, start afresh?
It is called good faith.
What does that mean in the context of politics?
Good faith because we think that our defeat was not from the register. And you should be asking that question more to the MPP. If you won by 53% and made history, why do you want to change that?
But that same question applies.
No, if you won by...
Why are you saying if? They did
if
win.
You claim you won
but they won.
If you claim you won by 53%.
But there's no debate about that.
Yes, if you claim you won 53%, no debate. Why are you worried about the register? Why are you bent on changing the register?
So you're saying that if you maintain this register, you win the elections?
Guess what? In 2015, President Akufo-Addo, every single platform that he mounted, he advocated for a change in the register.
That's true.
That led to the Justice VCRAC CRAB, committee.
That is true.
The committee did a thorough work on the register. Their conclusion: no need for a new register. This is the most credible register that.
Eventually, he had to abide by that decision.
Very good. Eventually, he abided by the decision, and he won 53%. The EC carried on, and they used the register. Now, let's look at the report that was done by the VCRAC committee. let's look at the current report they claim they have seen. I don't know if you have seen that report, that so-called evaluation report or
Make your statement. Make your
we have
statement.
requested for it. Jim Mensah says she's not going to give it to us.
A few seconds, but I can give it.
Yes, and I don't know if he has seen the document, but if you look at that document, it tells you clearly that the register is credible. What is the problem? Is the platform on which the register is lying and operating.
I don't want to go because we've
I'm not going there. Is that where the register is lying and operating? So what you have to change is change the system that runs the register.
Yeah, I get it. We've exhausted that quite
and so you do not need to run a new voter register.
So this register is credible.
It's credible, and according to the
it will deliver you. It delivered you a defeat in the 2016
It is going to deliver us a resounding victory. And you see, in economics, we have what we call ceteris paribus. We don't want to change the things, the other factors. Let all the other factors remain equal, like in 2016, and let's see who really
Evans,
win the
same question
elections.
applies to you. In 2016, you were opposed to the register. You did everything to discredit it, and yet the EC stood its ground, used the register, and they gave you historical margins of victory. So why do you want it changed?
Evans, the New Patriotic Party going to 2016 elections was very vigilant. Okay, I'm happy he mentioned Justice Crab's committee. This same committee, one member, Professor Nina Kweno.
Don't deviate. I will answer the
question.
Brought
No, but please make your point.
Like
no, wait. I want to hear. I haven't heard where he's landing with that name.
No,
so do you want to do the argument for me?
No, please finish.
I'm saying that I'm happy he mentioned the Justice Crab committee.
Don't be happy about my comments. Respond to the question.
That recommended to Madame Charlotte Osei that is appropriate they keep the register. They have a member of that committee as their technical advisor.
It's not true.
And I'm saying
it's
that.
Not true.
I'm
it's
saying
not
that.
True.
I'm saying he has not.
No, this is a big lie. Let me place it on record. It is a big lie. We don't have anybody on that committee as our technical
on your committee.
No, our committee is headed by Kwame Griffiths.
Have you ever taken him?
We have never taken him to IPAC. We have never sent him to IPAC.
I didn't say. I said they brought him to Coconut Grove
Regency. We didn't bring anybody there.
Was doing the demonstration.
We didn't. Even I am placing this on record.
Okay, so you've objected. I mean, that's fine. I mean, but Evans, we have to answer my question. It's okay. We made a point. It's okay. No, we don't have time. Okay. I mean, you have to answer my question. 2016, opposed to the register.
Yes.
Delivered victory for you.
Yes.
Why do you want to change?
I'm saying that one thing that worked for the New Patriotic Party was that we were very vigilant. The position
so stay vigilant with the same register.
The position that a new infrastructure will help Ghana go into an election 2020 that will give us
a new infrastructure will help.
So it says, but it makes a valid point. Stay vigilant with the register that you.
But he will not tell us how we proceed into the next election.
Same, you do not tell us how we proceed into our elections.
So go to court. As been advised by your general secretary that you can go to court.
Okay.
In fact,
gentlemen, I have run out of time on this.
Clearly, there's a collision between the MPP
and the cannot sit here and behave like that. When the EC did the exhibition, Peter Boama and his people had objection about it. We've sat in IPAC meetings.
And we were vindicated. I
need to go, gentlemen.
You supported them for the 300,000. We got 1.2 million people on the
so they should go to court.
At the point in our electoral history, certain individuals went to court and the Supreme Court directed that the EC clean the register.
We have not done on this matter. We'll try and
no
return it again.
Hashtag say no to new register.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Conference.